The champagne flute shatters against the marble 3 inches from my face. I don't flinch. Can't afford to. Not when Marcus Volkov's hand is already wrapping around my throat, his breath reeking of vodka and violence as he leans in close enough that I can see the gold caps on his molars. "Darling," he purrs, the word dripping with menace, his Russian accent turning it into something obscene. "You think you can walk away from me? After I paid for this pretty dress? After I brought you to the most exclusive charity gala in Manhattan?" The ballroom behind us glitters with old money and older secrets. Somewhere, a string quartet plays Vivaldi. Crystal chandeliers cast prismatic light across women in couture and men in custom suits worth more than my medical school debt. Nobody's looking at us in this shadowed alcove behind the marble pillars. That's the point. That's always the point with men like Marcus. "I said I needed air," I manage, my voice steadier than my pulse. My training kicks in. Assess the threat, catalog the injuries, find the exit strategy. His grip isn't tight enough to crush my trachea yet, but the intent is there, waiting. "You're hurting me." "I own you for the night, darling." He presses closer, and my spine hits the cold pillar. "Your hospital administrator made that very clear when he accepted my donation. $50,000 buys more than a tax write-off." My stomach turns. Dr. Chen, that spineless, budget-obsessed worm, actually sold me as arm candy to a Russian mobster for a donation. "Companion for the evening," was how the email phrased it. Required attendance, black tie, smile pretty. I should have known better than to trust hospital administration. Marcus's thumb traces my jawline, a parody of tenderness. "So when I say stay, you stay. When I say drink, you drink. And when I call you darling..." She doesn't answer to that. The voice cuts through the space like a blade, smooth, controlled, Italian accented, and carrying the kind of authority that makes Marcus's hand freeze on my throat. I can't see who spoke. Marcus's bulk blocks my view. But I feel the temperature drop, watch Marcus's expression shift from predatory confidence to something else, something close to fear. Santoro. Marcus doesn't release me, but his grip loosens fractionally. "This doesn't concern you. You're touching what's mine in my city. That makes it my concern." Now Marcus steps back, and I finally see him. "Oh. I've stitched up gunshot wounds at 3 a.m. I've held pressure on arterial bleeds while gangbangers bled out screaming on my table. I've looked into the eyes of dying men and lied that they'd be okay. But I've never seen anyone quite like Rafael Santoro. He's tall, 6'2", maybe 6'3", in a black suit that probably costs more than my car. Dark hair swept back, strong jaw shadowed with stubble, and eyes so dark they look black in the low light. There's a scar cutting through his left eyebrow, the kind that says he didn't always give orders from behind a desk. But it's not his looks that make my breath catch. It's the absolute, unshakable certainty radiating from him, like gravity, like inevitability. 3 men flank him, silent as shadows. They don't reach for weapons. They don't need to. Marcus laughs, but it sounds hollow. "Yours? I've never seen her before tonight. You're bluffing." "Am I?" Those dark eyes shift to me, and I feel the impact like a physical touch. "Tell him, Bellissima." My mind races. I have no idea who this man is or why he's intervening, but the calculation is simple. Russian mobster who's already put his hands on me, or mysterious Italian who just claimed ownership. The devil I don't know versus the devil currently bruising my throat. "I'm with Raphael." The lie comes out smooth, steady. Years of delivering bad news to families have taught me how to perform under pressure. Marcus's eyes narrow. "Bullshit. Chen said, Dr. Chen made a mistake." Raphael moves closer, each step measured, predatory. "The donation was a courtesy. Sienna is not, nor has she ever been, available for purchase." Wait, he knows my name. "Check with your administrator." Raphael continues, pulling out his phone with lazy confidence. "I'll wait." The tension stretches. Marcus looks between us, clearly calculating odds and finding them unfavorable. Whatever Rafael Santoro's reputation is, it's enough to make a Bratva underboss hesitate. Finally, Marcus spits on the marble between us. "Keep your whore, Santoro. She wasn't worth 50,000 anyway." He stalks off, and I should feel relieved. Instead, I'm trying to process the fact that the most dangerous-looking man I've ever seen just casually claimed me as his in front of a room full of New York's criminal elite, and I have absolutely no idea why. Raphael watches until Marcus disappears into the crowd, then turns that devastating attention fully on me. Up close, he's even more overwhelming. The scent of expensive cologne mixed with something darker, the way he moves with the confidence of someone who's never been denied anything, the heat radiating from his body despite the coolness of his expression. "You're bleeding." His voice drops lower, more intimate. I touch my cheek where the glass shattered. My fingers come away red. "It's superficial." "I'm a doctor, I know." "I know you're a doctor." He produces a pristine white handkerchief. Who even carries those anymore? And gently takes my hand, pressing the fabric to my cheek himself. His touch is surprisingly careful. "Dr. Sienna Moretti, trauma surgeon at Mount Sinai, top of your class at Columbia Medical. You work the overnight shifts 3 times a week and volunteer at the free clinic on Sundays." Ice floods my veins. "How do you know all that?" "Because I've been watching you for 3 months." The honest answer is somehow more terrifying than any threat Marcus made. "Why?" I breathe. His thumb brushes my wrist, just above my racing pulse. Those dark eyes hold mine, and for a moment, the gala disappears. The music, the people, the glittering excess of Manhattan wealth. "Because," Raphael says softly, dangerously, "you saved my brother's life, and now I'm going to save yours." 20 minutes later, I'm in the back of a Maserati that probably costs more than I'll make in 5 years, watching Manhattan lights blur past the tinted windows. Raphael sits across from me in the spacious back seat, perfectly relaxed, while I'm trying to control my breathing and figure out what the hell just happened. "Your brother," I finally say, breaking the silence. "I don't remember." "August 19th. Gunshot wound to the abdomen, internal bleeding. You worked on him for 4 hours. His gaze never wavers. "The other surgeons wanted to call it. You refused." My mind scrambles back through the parade of trauma cases. August, GSW, refused to quit. The John Doe. Recognition hits. Dark hair, eagle tattoo on his shoulder. He was barely conscious when they brought him in, kept speaking Italian. Lorenzo. Raphael's expression softens fractionally, the first break in that controlled facade. My youngest brother, 23 years old, stupid enough to get caught in a territory dispute, lucky enough that you were on shift. I remember now. The police had been circling, asking questions, but the patient refused to identify himself or his shooter. Classic gang-related shooting. I'd treated him, saved his life, and never asked questions because that's not my job. My job is to keep people alive, regardless of who put the holes in them. "He's okay?" I hear myself ask. "Fully recovered. Married now, actually. His wife is 8 months pregnant." A ghost of a smile touches Raphael's lips. "You saved 2 lives that night, potentially 3. My family owes you a debt." "I don't want anything." The words come out sharper than intended. "I was doing my job." "I know." He leans forward, elbows on his knees, and suddenly the space between us feels much smaller. "Which is why I've been ensuring your safety without interfering in your life. Discreet security. Making sure men like Marcus Volkov don't come near you." "Clearly that worked out great," I mutter, touching the cut on my cheek. "He wasn't supposed to be there tonight. The charity board doesn't typically invite Bratva." His jaw tightens, anger flickering across his features. "And your administrator accepting his donation to essentially pimp you out was unexpected." The blunt phrasing makes me wince. "Dr. Chen's going to hear from my lawyer." "Dr. Chen is going to hear from me first." There's a promise in those words that makes me both grateful and deeply uneasy. The car glides to a stop. I expect my apartment building in Astoria, but the driver opens the door to reveal a private, underground garage. Luxury cars gleam under fluorescent lights, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, a Bentley, 2 more Maseratis. This isn't my place. I don't move from my seat. No, it's mine. Raphael exits smoothly, then offers his hand. I'm not keeping you prisoner, Sienna, but Marcus isn't going to forget tonight. I embarrassed him in front of peers, and he'll want retaliation. Your apartment isn't safe. So what, I'm supposed to stay here? With you? Even as I say it, I know how ridiculous I sound. The man just rescued me from assault, and I'm offended by his hospitality. Just for tonight. Tomorrow we'll arrange proper security for your apartment. His hand remains extended, patient. I promise you're safe with me. The irony isn't lost on me, trusting the Mafia boss over the Russian mobster, but Raphael hasn't touched me without permission, hasn't threatened me, hasn't done anything except pull me out of a dangerous situation, and those eyes, there's something in them that doesn't match the cold crime lord image, something almost vulnerable when he mentioned his brother. Against every instinct my medical training has ingrained. Trust no one. Stay objective, don't get involved. I take his hand. His fingers close around mine, warm and solid, and he helps me from the car with old-world courtesy that seems anachronistic in the underground garage. Thank you, I say quietly. For stepping in. You didn't have to. Yes, Raphael says, still holding my hand. I did. The penthouse is ridiculous. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlook Central Park, the city sprawling like a constellation of light and shadow. The interior is all clean lines and expensive taste, leather furniture, abstract art, a kitchen with marble countertops and top-of-the-line appliances that have probably never been used. But it's the bookshelves that surprise me. Actual books, not just decorative spines. Literature, history, philosophy. A worn copy of Dante's Inferno sits on the coffee table, pages flagged with sticky notes. You read. It comes out like an accusation. Raphael shrugs off his jacket, and I try not to notice how the movement showcases his build. I'm not just a thug with an Italian accent, Dottoressa. I have a degree in political science from NYU. Before or after you joined the family business? During. He moves to the bar cart, pouring 2 fingers of amber liquid into crystal tumblers. Disappointed I'm not more of a stereotype? Actually, it makes him more dangerous, not less. Intelligence plus violence is a terrifying combination. He offers me a glass. I take it, our fingers brushing in the exchange. Whiskey, probably older than me, smooth and burning in equal measure. Why did you really bring me here? I ask, lowering myself onto the leather sofa. My feet are screaming in these heels, and I slip them off with an undignified sigh of relief. Raphael sits across from me, mirroring his position from the car, leaning forward, intense focus. I told you. Marcus. Will be pissed, I get it, but you've been watching me for 3 months. You knew about tonight's gala. You showed up at exactly the right moment. I meet his gaze steadily, using the same tone I use with patients who are lying about their symptoms. What aren't you telling me? For a long moment, he just looks at me. Then, unexpectedly, he smiles. It transforms his face, makes him look younger, almost boyish. You're as sharp as your surgical record suggests. Stop deflecting. The smile fades, replaced by something more serious. There's a war coming, between my family and the Bratva. Territory, operations, old grudges, it doesn't matter why. What matters is that Marcus Volkov knows I've claimed you publicly. That makes you leverage. My stomach drops. Claimed. You keep using that word. Because in my world, it has weight. It means you're under my protection. Untouchable. He sets down his glass with careful precision. It also means anyone who wants to hurt me might try to hurt you first. So I'm bait. No. The word comes out sharp, almost harsh. You're someone I refuse to let become collateral damage. Because I saved your brother. Because... He stops, jaw working like he's physically restraining the words. Yes, because of Lorenzo. But there's something else there, something he's not saying, and my instincts are screaming that this is more complicated than a debt repaid. I stand, needing space, needing to think. My reflection in the window shows a woman I barely recognize, disheveled updo, torn designer dress, courtesy of the hospital's styling budget, blood on her cheek. Behind me, Raphael's reflection watches with predatory stillness. I have a shift tomorrow, I say to the glass. 18-hour surgery scheduled. I can't hide in a penthouse playing mob wife. You're not. He cuts himself off with visible effort. I'm not asking you to hide. I'm asking you to let me keep you alive. And after? When this war of yours is over? Silence. Long enough that I turn to face him. Raphael stands too, closing the distance between us in 3 measured steps. He's close enough now that I have to tilt my head back to maintain eye contact, close enough that I can see the faint scar tissue on his knuckles, the way his pulse beats in his throat. After, he says quietly, you go back to saving lives and I go back to taking them, and we pretend tonight never happened. That's the plan? That's the smart play. And if I don't want smart? The words escape before I can stop them, fueled by adrenaline and whiskey and the intoxicating danger of this man who reads Dante and kills people and looks at me like I'm something precious and breakable. His hand rises, slow enough that I could step back, could stop this. Instead, I hold perfectly still as his fingers trace the cut on my cheek, feather-light, careful not to hurt me. Then we're both in trouble, Bellissima, Raphael murmurs. Because I stopped being smart the moment I saw you in that ER, covered in my brother's blood, refusing to give up. My breath catches. That was 3 months ago. I know. You've been, what, obsessing? Protecting. His thumb brushes my lower lip, and heat floods through me, pooling low in my belly. Watching. Trying to convince myself that keeping my distance was enough. Was it? No. The admission sounds like it costs him. And tonight, when I saw him touch you, when I heard him call you darling like you were something he could own, he stops, his hand dropping away, his jaw tight with restrained violence. I should be terrified, should be running for the door, calling the police, doing literally anything except standing here wanting him to touch me again. Instead, I close the distance he created, my hand finding his chest, feeling his heart pound beneath expensive cotton. I'm not a damsel, I tell him, voice steady despite the chaos in my head. I've survived medical school, 100-hour weeks, and more trauma than most people see in a lifetime. I don't need a savior. I know. But I also know when I'm in over my head. My fingers curl into his shirt. And this, your world, whatever this thing is between us, I'm drowning, Raphael. His hand covers mine, pressing it firm against his chest. Then let me teach you to swim, Dottoressa. Let me keep you safe while we figure out what the hell this is. It's a terrible idea. Catastrophically stupid. The kind of decision that gets people killed in his world. But when he looks at me like that, like I'm the only thing in the universe that matters, I can't remember why I should say no. One condition, I whisper. Anything. You're honest with me. No more watching from the shadows, no more secrets. If I'm trusting you with my life, you trust me with the truth. Something flickers across his expression. Conflict. Then resolution. Deal. He lifts my hand to his lips, pressing a kiss to my knuckles that sends electricity racing up my arm. But fair warning, Sienna, the truth is going to change everything. I wake up in a bed that's not mine, wrapped in Egyptian cotton sheets that probably cost more than my monthly rent. Sunlight streams through floor-to-ceiling windows, and for a disoriented moment, I forget where I am. Then it crashes back. The gala, Marcus, Raphael's claim, the charged moment before he showed me to the guest room with aching politeness. My phone buzzes on the nightstand. 17 missed calls from the hospital. Shit. I'm scrolling through increasingly panicked messages from Dr. Chen when the bedroom door opens. Raphael enters carrying a breakfast tray, and I have to blink several times to process the domesticity of it. He's in dark slacks and a white shirt, sleeves rolled up, hair still damp from a shower. He looks unfairly good for someone who's probably already orchestrated 3 felonies before 8 a.m. "You should answer," he says, setting the tray on the bed. Coffee, fruit, pastries from somewhere that definitely required a reservation. "Chen's going to have an aneurysm." "Good. Maybe he'll think twice before auctioning off his staff." I grab my phone, then pause. "Did you handle it?" "Yes." Chen received a very educational phone call at 6 this morning. I believe his exact words were, "I didn't know, Mr. Santoro, I swear, please don't," and then some undignified begging. His smile is sharp. He's refunding Marcus's donation and issuing a formal apology. To you. The vindication feels good, but there's a nagging detail. How much of an apology? The kind that involves his kneecaps staying intact? I'm a businessman, not a barbarian. Raphael pours coffee with practiced ease. Though I may have suggested that his hospital's continued operation depends on better judgment regarding staff welfare. That's extortion. That's leverage. He hands me a cup, our fingers brushing. There's a difference. I should probably be more disturbed by how casually he threatens people. Instead, I'm distracted by the way the morning light catches the gold flecks in his dark eyes. My phone buzzes again. Chen's name flashes. "Dr. Moretti," I answer, voice professionally cool. "Sienna, thank God. I am so sorry about last night." Chen's voice trembles with barely controlled panic. "I had no idea you were involved with Mr. Santoro. If I'd known, you wouldn't have sold me to a Russian mobster for $50,000? I let the acid drip into my tone. How comforting. I didn't mean. He's practically hyperventilating. "Please, I've already issued an apology letter and refunded the donation. What more can I do?" Raphael watches me over his coffee cup, expression unreadable. "My surgery schedule," I say. "The 18-hour kidney transplant today. I need it postponed 48 hours. Done. Absolutely done. I'll have Dr. Patterson cover." Relief floods his voice. "Anything else? A formal guarantee in writing that staff are never, ever, to be used as charity bait again." "I'll have HR draft something immediately." "Good." I let the pause stretch just long enough to make him sweat. "And Chen, if you ever put me or anyone else on my team in that position again, Mr. Santoro's phone call will seem like a pleasant conversation. Are we clear?" "Crystal clear, Dr. Moretti. Again, I am so—" I hang up. Raphael's smile could light fires. "Vicious. I like it. I spent 4 years getting screamed at by attending physicians. I can handle one spineless administrator." I sip the coffee. Perfect temperature, perfect strength. "But you shouldn't have threatened him." "I didn't threaten, I educated." "That's semantics." "That's survival." He leans back, studying me. "In my world, perception is everything. Chen needed to understand that you're protected, that touching you has consequences. Because I saved your brother. Because you're mine." The possessive pronoun sends heat curling through my stomach. "We really need to discuss your vocabulary choices. Would you prefer under my protection? Associated with my interests?" His voice drops lower, intimate. "The woman I can't stop thinking about?" My breath catches. "Raphael." "You wanted honesty, Bellissima." He sets down his cup, and suddenly the breakfast tray feels like the only barrier between us. "So here's the truth. I didn't just start watching you because of Lorenzo. I came to thank you personally that night, saw you in the staff lounge at 4 a.m., still in bloody scrubs, eating terrible vending machine food and crying. The memory surfaces. That had been a bad night. Lost 2 patients back to back, including a 15-year-old girl. I'd held it together through the family notifications, then fallen apart alone in the lounge. I was watching through the window," Raphael continues, "working up the courage to introduce myself, and then you wiped your eyes, straightened your spine, and went back to the ER, because someone else needed you." His gaze holds mine. That's when I stopped being able to walk away. So you've been stalking me for 3 months. I prefer ensuring your well-being from a respectful distance. Still stalking. Fair. He doesn't look remotely repentant. But effective. I know you take the subway home after night shifts even though it's dangerous. I know you survive on coffee and spite most days. I know you have nightmares about the patients you couldn't save because you wake up at 3:17 a.m. like clockwork and turn on every light in your apartment. The specificity of that detail, the exact time, makes my skin prickle. How do you know that? Because I'm usually awake at 3:17 too. His voice goes quiet. And I check the security feed to make sure you're okay. I don't even know what that is. Disturbing? Touching? Both? Obsessive, Raphael supplies. Inappropriate. Likely criminal. But I'm not going to apologize for keeping you safe, Sienna. I should be furious. Should be demanding he delete whatever surveillance he has, threatening legal action, running for the hills. Instead, I'm remembering the relief I felt when he stepped between me and Marcus. The certainty in his voice when he claimed me. The way his hand trembled slightly when he touched my face last night, like he was holding back something fierce and barely controlled. What happens now? I ask quietly. Now, I tell you the rest. The part that's going to make you hate me. He stands, moving to the windows, his shoulders tense. Marcus didn't come after you because of some random donation opportunity. He was there specifically for you. Ice floods my veins. What? The Bratva knows about Lorenzo. They know you saved him, and they've been looking for leverage against my family for months. He turns, and the guilt on his face is devastating. Marcus planned to take you last night. Use you to force me into giving up territory. And you knew this. I suspected. That's why I was there. His hands clench into fists. I should have stopped it sooner, should have pulled you out before he ever got close. But I needed to know for certain, needed to see if you were right. The betrayal tastes bitter. So you used me as bait. No. He crosses back to me in 3 strides, dropping to his knees beside the bed so we're eye level. I would never. I had 20 men in that ballroom, all positioned to intervene at the first sign of trouble. You were never in real danger. Tell that to my throat. I touch the tender bruises Marcus left. Raphael's expression darkens dangerously. He's going to pay for that. I promise you. I don't want revenge. I want to understand. I force myself to hold his gaze. If Marcus knows about Lorenzo, if the Bratva is targeting people close to you, how am I supposed to go back to my normal life? They'll just try again. They won't. His hands hover near my face, not quite touching. Because everyone now knows you're not just someone who saved my brother. You're someone I publicly claimed, someone I brought into my home. In our world, that's as binding as a wedding ring. We're not married. In every way that matters to them, we are. He finally touches me, fingers gentle on my jaw, tilting my face to examine the cut. You're a Santoro by association now, untouchable, protected by the full weight of my family's power. And if I don't want that, if I want to just go back to being a doctor who doesn't exist in your world, then I'll arrange the best security money can buy, set you up in a new city if you want, make sure the Bratva understands you're off limits. His thumb brushes my cheekbone. And I'll disappear from your life like I was never there. The offer is genuine. I can hear it in his voice, see it in the resignation in his eyes. He'll let me go, even though it clearly costs him. And if I stay? The question emerges as barely a whisper. His breath catches. Then I teach you to survive in my world. I introduce you to my family. I make sure you understand exactly what you're choosing. What am I choosing, Raphael? He leans closer, his forehead almost touching mine, his voice rough with barely restrained emotion. Danger. Luxury. A life where you'll never be completely safe but never be alone. A man who's killed for less than what Marcus did to you and won't hesitate to burn the city down to keep you protected. That's insane. Probably. I barely know you. I know. His hand slides into my hair, and I shiver. But you feel it too. This thing between us. Tell me you don't feel it, and I'll back away right now. I should lie, should protect myself, choose the safe option, return to my carefully controlled life of trauma surgery and take-out meals and loneliness at 3:17 a.m. Instead, I close the distance and kiss him. It's not gentle. Raphael makes a sound low in his throat, surprise, hunger, relief, and his hands are suddenly everywhere, cradling my face, tangling in my hair, pulling me closer, even though the breakfast tray is in the way. I don't care. I'm drowning in the taste of him, coffee and something darker, the scratch of his stubble against my skin, the way he kisses like he's been starving for this, for me. Sienna. He breaks away, breathing hard, his pupils blown wide. If we don't stop, I won't be able to. Then don't stop. Dio mio, you're going to destroy me. But he's kissing me again, deeper this time, his hand spanning my waist through the silk pajamas he gave me last night. The breakfast tray crashes to the floor, coffee, pastries, fruit scattering across expensive hardwood, and neither of us cares because he's lifting me, moving us away from the mess, backing me against the wall with delicious pressure. Tell me to stop. He breathes against my neck, his lips tracing the line of my throat. Tell me you don't want this. I want... My words dissolve into a gasp as his teeth graze my pulse point. I want you to keep your promise. No more secrets. He pulls back just enough to look at me, his hands framing my face. No more secrets, he agrees. Even the ones that might make you run. Try me. I've imagined this. His voice is raw, vulnerable. For 3 months, I've imagined what it would feel like to touch you, taste you, hear you say my name, and the reality is so much better that it's terrifying. Why terrifying? Because now I know what I'll lose if I can't keep you safe. If the Bratva or my enemies or the life I lead destroys this before it even begins. His forehead rests against mine. You make me weak, Bellissima. And in my world, weakness gets you killed. Then we make each other strong. I cup his face, feeling the rough stubble, the sharp line of his jaw. You protect me from your world. I remind you there's more to life than violence and territory. Deal? You're too good for me. Probably, but you're what I want anyway. He kisses me again, softer this time, like I'm something precious. I don't deserve you. Definitely not. But my phone explodes with sound, my emergency ringtone, the one only the hospital uses for critical situations. We break apart, both breathing hard, and I'm scrambling for my phone among the sheets. Dr. Moretti. I'm proud of how steady my voice is, considering my entire body is vibrating with unfulfilled desire. Sienna, it's Dr. Patterson. We have a mass casualty situation, explosion at a construction site in Queens, all surgeons on deck. How fast can you get here? The doctor in me takes over instantly. 20 minutes. What are we looking at? At least 30 injured, multiple critical. Burns, crush injuries, internal trauma. It's bad. I'm on my way. I hang up, already moving, looking for my clothes from last night. I have to... I know. Raphael's already at the door. I'll have my driver take you. It'll be faster than a cab. Thank you. I find my dress, wrinkled, blood-stained, unwearable. Except I can't exactly show up in this. He's back in seconds with clothes. Women's clothes. Jeans, a simple black t-shirt, sneakers. They look brand new. I stare at them, then at him. You keep women's clothes in your penthouse? I had them delivered this morning. Your size. He has the grace to look slightly sheepish. I told you I've been paying attention. It should be creepy. Instead, I'm weirdly touched that he thought ahead. I change quickly. No time for modesty. And besides, he just had his hands all over me 30 seconds ago. The clothes fit perfectly because, of course, they do. This conversation isn't over, I tell him, grabbing my phone and the small purse I brought to the gala. I'm counting on it. He catches my hand as I pass, pulling me back for one more kiss, quick, fierce, full of promise. Save lives, Dottoressa. I'll be here when you get back. And if I don't come back? Not an option. His voice drops to something dark and absolute. I don't lose what's mine, Sienna. Remember that. Then I'm running for the elevator, my mind already shifting to triage protocols and surgical procedures, even as my lips still burn from his kiss. The next 18 hours are a blur of blood, trauma, and the peculiar clarity that comes from operating on autopilot. I repair a shattered femur, I remove shrapnel from a teenage boy's abdomen, I hold a woman's hand as she dies despite everything we try, whispering that she's not alone, she's not alone, she's not. At hour 15, Dr. Patterson physically removes me from the OR. You're done, he says firmly. You've been on your feet for 15 hours after a traumatic incident last night. Go home, Moretti. I want to argue, but my hands are shaking from exhaustion and adrenaline crash. He's right. The hospital gave me a change of scrubs at some point. I don't remember when. Everything smells like antiseptic and copper. I'm stumbling out through the ER entrance at 2 a.m. when I see the Maserati idling at the curb. Raphael leans against the hood, looking impossibly put together in dark jeans and a leather jacket, completely out of place among the ambulances and chaos. You waited. The words come out slurred with exhaustion. I said I'd be here. He's moving toward me, concern etched on his features. You look like hell. I know. I sway slightly and his hands are suddenly steadying me. Lost count of how many surgeries. 3, maybe 4. A kid your brother's age with, hey. His voice cuts through the spiral. You did everything you could. That's enough. It's never enough. I know. And somehow, impossibly, I think he actually does understand. He guides me to the car with careful hands, and I don't even protest when he buckles my seatbelt like I'm a child. The leather seats are heaven compared to standing in an OR for 15 hours. Your place or mine? He asks, sliding into the driver's seat. Yours. The admission costs nothing. I'm too tired to pretend I don't want his company. Don't want to be alone at 3:17. His hand finds mine in the darkness. You never have to be alone at 3:17 again, Bellissima. I wake to sunlight and the smell of coffee. I'm in the same guest room as yesterday, still in my scrubs, with a blanket tucked around me that I don't remember getting. My shoes are neatly placed by the door. Raphael must have carried me. My phone says it's 11 a.m. I slept for 9 hours straight, probably a record for the past year. I find him in the kitchen, cooking. Actually, cooking. Not just reheating something a private chef prepared. He's making eggs and there's fresh bread, fruit, orange juice. You cook. I'm noticing a lot of unexpected things about him. My mother insisted all her sons learn. He glances over and his expression softens. How do you feel? Like I got hit by a truck. Standard post-marathon surgery feeling. I slide onto a bar stool, accepting the coffee he pushes toward me. Did you carry me to bed? You fell asleep in the car. Didn't have the heart to wake you. He plates the eggs with surprising competence. You talk in your sleep, by the way. Embarrassment flares. What did I say? Mostly medical jargon, some Italian words you probably learned from Lorenzo. A pause. And my name, once. Heat floods my cheeks. Don't apologize. I liked it. He sets breakfast in front of me, then rounds the counter to sit beside me instead of across, close enough that our knees touch. I need to tell you something. The seriousness in his tone makes my stomach clench. What? The explosion yesterday, the construction site. His jaw tightens. It wasn't an accident. I set down my fork. What? It was a Bratva hit. They were targeting one of our supply routes. We use that construction company as a front for moving merchandise. He has the grace to look slightly guilty about the euphemism. Marcus ordered it. People died, Raphael, workers who had nothing to do with your war. I know. The self-loathing in his voice is palpable. And that's on me. I should have seen it coming. Should have moved our operations before civilians got caught in the crossfire. So what now? You retaliate? More explosions? More bodies in my ER? I can hear the accusation in my voice, can't quite suppress it. No, now I end it. He turns to face me fully. There's a meeting tonight, neutral ground, all the families. We're going to negotiate terms before this escalates further. And if negotiation doesn't work, then it becomes a war we can't come back from. His hand covers mine, but I'm going to do everything in my power to avoid that, because now I have something to lose beyond territory and pride. Me. You. I should tell him this is insane, that I can't be the reason he makes strategic decisions, that I'm a trauma surgeon, not a mafia wife, not someone who should factor into underworld politics. Instead, I flip my hand over, threading my fingers through his. What do you need from me? Come with me tonight. I blink. To a mob meeting? To show the Bratva and everyone else that you're not a target, not leverage, not a weakness to exploit. His grip tightens. You're my partner, untouchable, off limits. And if Marcus doesn't care? If he comes after me anyway? He won't survive the attempt. There's nothing but cold certainty in Raphael's voice. I've been patient because starting a war has consequences, but if he touches you again, patience ends. Do you understand? I do. And the terrifying part is that I'm not horrified by his protectiveness. I'm grateful, maybe even vindicated. Marcus Volkov put his hands on me, called me property, and would have done worse if Raphael hadn't intervened. The man deserves consequences. Okay, I hear myself say, I'll come tonight, on one condition. Name it. You tell me everything, what this meeting really is, who'll be there, what the risks are. No more protecting me from information. Deal. He lifts my hand to his lips, the gesture becoming familiar. But fair warning, once you see inside my world, you can't unsee it. I work in trauma surgery. I've seen the results of your world my entire career. I lean closer. The difference is now I'm choosing to see the causes instead of just treating the effects. His smile is sharp. You're going to be terrifying in my world, Bellissima. Good. Someone needs to keep you in line. The dress Raphael provides for the evening is stunning, deep emerald silk that hugs every curve, with a neckline just shy of scandalous. Elegant, expensive, and definitely sending a message. I'm his, and I'm not hiding it. A woman appears at 6 p.m. to do my hair and makeup, professional, discreet, clearly used to working with Raphael's associates. She transforms me from exhausted doctor to something that belongs in his dangerous, glittering world. When I emerge from the guest room, Raphael is waiting in a 3-piece black suit that probably costs more than a semester of medical school. He looks every inch the Don, powerful, dangerous, completely in control, until he sees me. Then that control cracks, just for a second, and the hunger in his eyes makes my breath catch. Bellissima, he breathes. You're going to start a war looking like that. I thought we were trying to prevent one. We are, but if any of those bastards look at you too long, all bets are off. He offers his arm, and I take it, feeling the coiled tension in his muscles. Stay close to me tonight. Don't accept drinks from anyone else. Don't wander off. You're expecting trouble? I'm expecting Marcus to be an idiot. There's a difference. We head to the elevator, his hand settling possessively on the small of my back. But my brothers will be there. Lorenzo wants to thank you personally. And my mother is dying to meet the woman who saved her baby boy and apparently captured her oldest son's attention. Your mother? My voice climbs an octave. You're bringing me to meet your mother at a mob negotiation? She's the real power in the family. His smile is wry. My father built the organization. She's the one who kept it running after he died. You want to understand my world? Mama is where you start. The meeting is held at an upscale Italian restaurant in Midtown, the kind with a discreet back entrance and a front room that's mysteriously closed for private event, despite being prime Friday night real estate. Raffaele guides me through the back, past silent men with obvious weapons, into a private dining room that screams old-world elegance. Long table, expensive wine, plates of food that are more about display than consumption. And families. So many families. I recognize the dynamics from medical conferences, the patriarchs at the head of the table, the lieutenants flanking them, the younger generation watching and learning. But here, the stakes are higher than tenure and publication rights. Ah, Santoro brings a date. The voice is heavily accented, Russian. Marcus Volkov sits 3 seats down, his expression twisted with something between amusement and contempt. How domestic! Watch your mouth, Volkov. Raphael's voice could cut glass. Or I'll remove it from your face. Gentlemen. An older man at the head of the table, Mediterranean, maybe Greek, raises his hands. We're here for peace talks, not posturing. Tell that to the man who blew up 30 civilians yesterday, Raphael counters smoothly. Collateral damage, Marcus says with a shrug that makes my blood boil. Perhaps Santoro should keep his operations out of civilian areas. Perhaps you should learn the difference between strategy and terrorism. This voice is female, older, commanding. I turn to see a woman in her 60s, elegantly dressed, with sharp eyes that miss nothing. She sits beside an empty chair clearly reserved for Raphael, his mother. Mama! Raphael guides me to the empty chair, then sits beside me, his hand immediately finding my knee under the table, claiming, grounding. This is Dr. Sienna Moretti. Sienna, my mother, Lucia Santoro. The surgeon who saved Lorenzo. Lucia studies me with unnerving intensity. I owe you a debt that can never be repaid, figlia mia. I was doing my job, Mrs. Santoro. Lucia, please, and humble too. She smiles, but there's steel beneath the warmth. My son has excellent taste. Your son is sitting right here, Raphael mutters. Yes, and he's been insufferable for 3 months, mooning over a woman he refused to approach directly. Lucia ignores his glare. I'm glad you finally showed some courage, Raffaele. The table, full of dangerous men and deadlier reputations, actually chuckles. Marcus is not amused. This is a business meeting, not a family reunion. Everything is family business, Lucia says coolly. Which you would understand if you had any concept of loyalty, Volkov. Careful, old woman. The temperature drops 20 degrees. Raphael is halfway out of his seat before I realize he's moving, but Lucia's hand on his arm stops him. Sit, Figlio. He's not worth it. She turns back to Marcus, and her smile is terrifying. But call me old woman again, and I'll have your tongue delivered to your pakan in a very pretty box. For a moment, the entire room holds its breath. Then Marcus laughs, but it's forced. The widow Santoro still has teeth. I'm impressed. You should be. I've buried better men than you. Lucia sips her wine. Now, shall we discuss terms, or do we continue this tedious dance until someone does something truly stupid? The Greek mediator clears his throat. Territory. The Bratva claims the Santoro family has been encroaching on established borders. Bullshit! This is a younger man beside Raphael. Lorenzo, I realize, noting the similar features, the eagle tattoo visible on his wrist. They've been hitting our shipments for 6 months. We've been defending, not expanding. Your shipments cross our routes, another Russian argues, because your routes cut through the entire eastern seaboard. Raphael counters, unless you're claiming you own the Atlantic Ocean, we have every right. This is pointless. Marcus stands abruptly and his men tense. Santoro doesn't want peace, he wants dominance, and he's using that bitch as a... Raphael moves so fast I barely register it. 1 second he's seated. The next, he has Marcus pinned against the wall, forearm across his throat, a knife that appeared from nowhere pressed to the Russian's jugular. Say it, Raphael growls. Finish that sentence. Give me a reason. Raffaele! Lucia's voice cracks like a whip. He doesn't move, doesn't even blink. All his attention is focused on Marcus, who's rapidly turning red. Rafe! I don't know what makes me stand, what gives me the courage to cross to where 2 deadly men are locked in violence. Let him go. He insulted you. He's an idiot. Don't prove you are too. I place my hand on his arm, feeling the corded tension. Please. For a heartbeat, nothing happens. Then Raphael releases Marcus, who collapses coughing. This meeting is over, the Greek mediator declares. We'll reconvene when cooler heads prevail. Agreed. Lucia stands gracefully. Raphael, Lorenzo, take Sienna home. I'll handle the diplomacy you're apparently incapable of tonight. Raphael looks like he wants to argue, but one glance from his mother silences him. He takes my hand, and we leave past staring families, past whispering associates, out into the cool Manhattan night. In the car, Lorenzo speaks first. That was incredibly stupid, Fratello. He called her. We all heard what he called her, still stupid. But Lorenzo is grinning, though I've never seen you move that fast. Impressive. Not helping, Lorenzo. Wasn't trying to. He leans forward from the back seat, offering me his hand. We haven't been properly introduced. Lorenzo Santoro. You saved my life. I shake his hand, noting the warmth in his eyes, so different from Raphael's intensity. Dr. Sienna Moretti, you're welcome. And thank you for saving his life tonight. Lorenzo jerks his chin toward Raphael. If Mama hadn't been there, he would have killed Volkov and started a war. If Sienna hadn't been there, Raphael corrects quietly, I would have killed him and not cared about the consequences. The admission hangs heavy. That's the problem, Lorenzo says, suddenly serious. You can't afford not to care, Rafe. You're the Don. Every decision you make affects hundreds of people, thousands if you count the families and operations. You think I don't know that? I think you're in love with a woman you met 3 days ago, and it's making you reckless. The word, love, crashes into the car like a physical force. Raphael's hand tightens on the wheel. Lorenzo. It's true though, isn't it? His younger brother's voice is gentle, not mocking. You've been different since that night at the hospital. More distracted. More volatile. More human. Is that a bad thing? I hear myself ask. Lorenzo meets my gaze in the rearview mirror. Depends. Are you planning to stick around? Or is this a fascination that'll burn out once the danger passes? It's a fair question, and one I don't have a clean answer for. I don't know, I admit. Your world is terrifying. The violence, the constant threats, the moral compromises. I save lives. Raphael, I hesitate. Takes them, Raphael finishes flatly. You can say it. I was going to say, operates in shades of gray I'm not equipped to navigate. I turn to look at him, this dangerous, complicated man who's somehow become essential in 72 hours. But I'm not running. Not yet. Not yet, Raphael repeats softly. But eventually? I don't know. The honest answer feels cruel, but he wanted truth. Ask me again when this is over. When I've seen what your life actually looks like beyond crisis and adrenaline. Fair enough. He pulls into the underground garage of his building, kills the engine. Lorenzo, go home to your wife. I'm sure Sienna and I have things to discuss. Lorenzo squeezes my shoulder as he exits. He's a good man, Dr. Moretti. Scary as hell and occasionally stupid, but good. Don't give up on him too quickly. Then we're alone. The elevator ride is silent, heavy with unspoken words and the lingering adrenaline of the disastrous meeting. Inside the penthouse, Raphael pours 2 whiskeys without asking, hands me one, then moves to the windows overlooking the city. You should leave, he says to the glass. Go back to your apartment, your life, your safe, predictable world where the worst thing that happens is losing a patient on the table. Is that what you want? What I want is irrelevant. You deserve better than this. He drains his whiskey in one swallow. Better than a man who almost started a war because someone insulted you. Better than looking over your shoulder for the rest of your life. Better than me. I set down my glass and cross to him. You don't get to decide what I deserve, Raphael. Then what do you want, Sienna? He finally turns, and the vulnerability in his expression breaks something in my chest. Because I'm drowning here. I want you safe. I want you close. I want you in my bed and in my life, and those two things are fundamentally incompatible. Why? Because everyone I love becomes a target. The confession explodes out of him. My father was killed by rivals, my uncle, 3 cousins. Love is a weakness in my world, and I've spent 32 years building walls to avoid that weakness. And then I came along. He reaches for me, hands framing my face with aching gentleness. And suddenly I understand why my father risked everything, why Lorenzo married his wife despite knowing she'd be in danger. Because you're worth it, worth the risk, the fear, the complete fucking terror of caring about something more than power and control. My breath catches. Raphael, I'm in love with you. The words are raw, unpolished, devastating. I know it's too fast, too crazy, too much, but I've watched you for 3 months and I've known you for 3 days, and somehow those two truths coexist. I love you, and that's why you should run. I should. Every logical cell in my brain is screaming to run, to choose safety, to return to the life where the worst danger is malpractice lawsuits and cranky attendings. I'm not running. I whisper against his lips. I'm choosing you. The danger, the complications, all of it. I'm choosing you. Raphael Santoro. His control shatters. 3 weeks later. I'm elbow-deep in a thoracic surgery when my phone buzzes with the specific pattern that means Raphael is calling. Dr. Chen to the OR, I call out. I need 5 minutes. My replacement scrubs in while I step into the hallway, pulling off bloody gloves. This better be good, I answer. I'm literally holding someone's heart. How romantic. Mine too. I can hear the smile in Raphael's voice. I have news. Good news or we need to leave the country news? Good. The Bratva agreed to terms. Marcus Volkov has been reassigned to their Siberian operations. Translation. Marcus is either dead or wishes he was. And the peace deal? Signed this morning. Territory borders redrawn, neutral zones established, civilian casualties strictly forbidden. A pause. My mother sends her love, by the way. She wants to know when you're coming to Sunday dinner. Tell her I'm working on memorizing Italian insults so I can keep up. I lean against the wall, suddenly exhausted and exhilarated. It's really over? The war? Yes. Everything else? His voice drops lower, intimate despite the distance. Just beginning, amore mio. My heart does something complicated. I have to get back to surgery. I know. Save lives, dottoressa. I'll be here when you're done. Raphael? Yes? I love you too. In case the last 3 weeks of staying at your place didn't make that clear. The silence stretches just long enough that I think the call dropped. Then, say it again. I love you, you obsessive, overprotective, surprisingly domestic mafia boss. Dio, I love you. He sounds wrecked. Finish your surgery, come home. We'll celebrate properly. Is that a threat or a promise? Both. I'm smiling as I hang up, already scrubbing back in. Dr. Chen gives me a knowing look. The boyfriend? The boyfriend, I confirm. He's good for you. You've been lighter these past few weeks. He's good for me, I agree. Even if good comes with armed guards, family dinners that double as strategy sessions, and the constant low-level awareness that danger is one wrong move away. Because at 3:17 a.m., when the nightmares come, Raphael is there, solid, steady, reminding me I'm not alone. And when he comes home with blood on his knuckles from protecting what's his, I'm there too. Cleaning wounds, asking no questions, accepting all of him, the darkness and the light. We're a disaster waiting to happen, but we're our disaster. And I wouldn't have it any other way.